Okay, so tonight we wanted to talk about getting new coaches started right, because obviously if you're on this call, you are wanting to build a team or you are building a team. And let's be honest, we want our new coaches to see success right away. Our success depends on their success. So obviously it is very important that we do this correctly, and not that not that our coach's success is dependent on us. It's not. Every coach that comes into this business has equal opportunity to find out how to run this business, but we can help them and we can make it a lot easier for them. And that is what I hope that you will sort of walk away with tonight, is just sort of a very simple system of how, within sort of a week's time, you can get your coach started off on the right foot and start seeing success, so that they keep that momentum going and that they can, in the end, be a successful coach and have a successful business. So it all sort of starts obviously at the point of, so you have someone who is interested. Either you have asked them, you put that bug in their ear about coaching, and they said that yes, they are interested, or sure, they'd like to hear more, or they have been the one that came to you or responded on one of your posts that they are interested in hearing more. The conversation for me, can everybody just mute themselves?
How are you?
Quickly.
How are you? Listen to it. Stop it.
I'll just mute all. So regardless of how someone becomes interested, whether I ask them or they come to me, I sort of have the exact same conversation with them. I want to know what piqued their interest. I want to know why they are interested. That's the very first thing I want to even know. Like when someone comes to me that I don't even know from a hill of beans and says like, oh yeah, I'm interested, my first question is, okay, awesome. Tell me what interests you about this. Because I want to know that right off the bat. And even if it is somebody that I have asked, if I have messaged someone and just said, have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? I think you'd be great at it. And if they come back to me and say, well, no, I've never really thought about it, but I guess I would be interested in hearing more, I act as though they came to me and said they were interested. So I straight up asked them, okay, awesome. Tell me what interests you about it. Even though 5 minutes ago, they maybe weren't even interested. Obviously they are a little bit now. So I take that conversation and I spin it to make it seem as though they were the ones who came to me in the first place. And it usually does work. They usually are like, whoa, well, I guess the reason why I'm interested, and they're able to tell me the reason. You have to know why they are interested in this opportunity. So I just have a very quick chat with them, just over Messenger, very, very quickly back and forth. I do want to know a little bit about them, like their story and just like, do they work? But I don't spend a lot of time in this phase. I hate using the term like waste my time, but I don't waste my time in this phase. This is just a very beginning phase for me. So it's a very quick chat with them. What interests you about this opportunity? Tell me a little bit more about yourself. And now I just want to get them into the webinar. I want them to watch our live webinar that we're going to be doing, or they can watch the recording. Like if I have a live webinar happening in like the next 24 hours, I will wait and get them into that. Otherwise, they can watch our last webinar that we did. And I want to get them into there as soon as possible. And the key with that is obviously like telling them that you're going to add them in. I would never just add somebody to the webinar and tag them without ever asking permission. Like I'm assuming everybody does, but you never know, right? So don't ever add somebody into the sneak peek that you haven't already asked permission, I guess, to add them in. So I say, do you mind if I add you into a group? We have a webinar in there that I can tag you, and it's a recording that we did a couple weeks ago. And they say, yeah, sure, that sounds great. And then I always set up a time. When are you going to have a chance to watch this webinar? That is like super, super important. You can't just send them in there and then write in the comment on the webinar, let me know when you've had a chance to watch it. Because odds are they're probably not gonna let you know. They'll forget. They probably won't even watch it. They'll just forget. So you have to say to them, when are you going to have a chance to watch this? And if they say, oh, I should be able to watch it later today, or, you know, tomorrow night when my kids go to bed, then I say, perfect. Is it okay if I follow up with you tomorrow morning or tomorrow night or next Monday? Whatever the case may be, you have to set up a follow-up time with them. You have to, whenever that is. I've had it be like a week down the line, and that's fine. That's when they know I'm going to follow up with them. And then you message them back at that time and say, I'm just following up with you as promised. I would love to hear what you thought of the webinar. So as you can see, it is very simple so far, how we do this. It's just a quick connecting with them. What did you enjoy, or sorry, what interests you about the opportunity? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Get them into a webinar, whatever. If you're doing your own sneak peek or you add them into Michelle, the webinar that Michelle and I have, get them into there and then set up a follow-up time to chat. Okay, and then you can either, you know, do it, you know, like a Zoom call or a phone call or video messenger. I usually use video messenger the majority of the time if they're open to it. Otherwise, I will just chat with them over Messenger, just like typing. If they agree to chat with you, like if they've set up a follow-up time and you message them and they're ready to chat, it's a pretty good indication that they are interested, right? If they weren't, like if you're not hearing back from them, they're not interested. Like if you message them at that time when it's time to follow up and you hear nothing from them, and then you message them again a few days later or the next day and you still hear nothing, they're not interested, and that's okay. But if someone right away is ready to chat with you about it, they're interested. So get them, like I find face-to-face on video messenger really, really effective because you can see them, they can see you. And for me, it is just so much easier to chat with them about the opportunity. The thing with that conversation that happens after they've been exposed to the webinar or your sneak peek, whatever it is, sorry, losing my train of thought. The key to this little next section is you let them do the talking. Do not get nervous about these little follow-up chats that you're going to have with somebody and what are you supposed to say and what questions are you supposed to ask them. Don't even worry about that. I think I used to put a lot of pressure on myself when chatting with a coach, and in fact, it probably was why I didn't often bring up the opportunity as much as I should have, because I was so afraid of screwing things up or not knowing what to say to them or how to answer their questions. Like it just intimidated me, that whole idea of asking someone to become a coach and then like exposing them to the webinar and then, oh my God, what am I going to say to them after? And what if they are interested? Then what the hell am I going to do with them? So if they're interested and they want to chat about it, let them do the talking. All you have to do is ask them, okay, tell me what you liked about the webinar. Did you like what you saw? And they should start talking. They should start telling you about what they liked or what they are nervous about or whatever the case may be. They're going to start to talk, hopefully, if they agreed to have a follow-up with you. They're obviously going to sort of open up about what it is they liked, and that is where you can just sort of keep the conversation flowing. Just ask them a few more questions or relate to them a little bit. talk about your experience that you have had with coaching, because if they're not watching you in a webinar, if they're watching Michelle and I, they still don't really fully know your experience with coaching. And it's important for them to know that, because they're not signing up with Michelle or I, right? They're signing up with you. So they do need to hear a little bit about your story. So that's your opportunity to share a little bit with them and just relate to them, like, you know, oh my gosh, it's just changed everything for me, this opportunity. You need to tell them that. However it is that it's changed you, be open and vulnerable with them about that and just get them to talk. That's the most important thing in that whole little follow-up conversation. If you find that it's just sort of not going anywhere, like they're like, yeah, no, I loved it. It was great. I could totally see myself doing that, because I get that a lot. I got it yesterday, in fact. She was like, yeah, I loved it. Thank you so much. It answered a lot of my questions. And I was like, okay, well, what did you like about it? And well, I really like that I could potentially make it my full-time income. I think that's really cool. It's definitely something I'm going to think, it's definitely something I want to do. And it's like, okay, well, like, so, like, are you ready for a link? Like, are you ready? Let's do this, right? So I find if you ask them, what is holding you back from saying, let's do this? I ask that a lot to people. What's holding you back from saying, let's just do this? And that usually gets a pretty honest answer out of them. Like, you know, it's financial. That's what they're worried about. They don't have the money to spend on the startup fee. So that's your opportunity then to talk to them about that. Well, my goal with all my new coaches is for them to see a return on their investment in their first 30 days. If that is their goal, I will work closely with them to help them achieve that. So I tell them that. Or if they're worried, like, you know, oh, I would love to do it, but I just feel like right now is bad timing. I'm really busy. I'll explain to them, you know what? Like, trust me, I was busy. Everybody's busy. There's never, ever going to be a better time. Do you actually think you're going to be less busy in December? No. Or when spring comes? No. Like, so you can have that conversation with them. But if you don't ask them what their objection is, like what's holding them back, if they are interested, then what's stopping them from saying, okay, sign me up? So if you get to the point where they're ready to sign up, awesome. You send them the link, they enroll. That little time frame is very, very key, because for one, I always want to be right there with them when they sign up. I don't ever want to send somebody a link to enroll as a coach and have them do it at like later that night or tomorrow morning, because I want to be right there with them when they officially do it, because I want to be able to congratulate them. I want them to, I want it to be a big deal that they have just embarked on this new journey, and I want to be right there with them when they officially do it. Also, if they have any questions while they're going through the sign up process, I want to be there and be available on Messenger to help them through that. Once they're signed up, I let them know right away, you're going to get an email from Beachbody, and in it is going to be a video that you can watch and a little bit of information. It's called the First 30. I always explain to them that this email is actually super confusing and probably the most confusing thing that they are going to receive. And in fact, I just wish they would redo that whole email, because it is super confusing. It takes them, I don't know if you guys have really ever looked at what a brand new coach gets, but it's called the First 30, and it walks them through how to set up their web page, like their Beachbody, like it's called a web page, right? Website, their Beachbody website, which I don't know about you guys, but I have never, ever gone to my website since the day that I had to set it up in order to become a coach. So I tell them that, like, I'm straight up honest with them, and I tell them, just put your picture in the profile, fill out a little bit of information in your bio, and that's it. And odds are you will probably never go back there. So I tell them to just do that and forget about it and don't get hung up on it. And then I tell them they will get an email from me. So I want to send that email within minutes of them signing up. It's a welcome email. You guys all have access to the template of it, like the script of it. And I send that email, and it has the link to our team page in it, so they can request to join our team page. It just goes over a little bit of information of what they can sort of expect and what my goals are for them in their first 30 days. And it also includes now the link to joining Coach Basics. So I send that to them, and at the bottom of the email, it says, once you have gone through the first 30, that email that they get from Beachbody, I want them to connect with me. So I send them that email, and then I just let it go. Because if they are a go-getter, you're going to first off see them request right away to join the team page, because they'll be eager. They want in that team page. So you'll see a request. Plus, they should email you right back and say, okay, I did the first 30. What now? And that is such a good indication that you have a worker on your hands. I have had many coaches that I've signed up, and a week later, you still hear nothing from them. Like, obviously, probably the next day or so, I will message them and say, just making sure you got that email from me. And, if they're the type that says, oh, I did, I just haven't had a chance to read it yet. Well, you know what? Don't invest a lot of time in that person, right? They're obviously not that excited. Not to say they're not going to become excited about this opportunity, but don't be like waiting there patiently to get them started. They'll find you. You've done your part. But the ones who are eager to go at it will message you right back. And what I like to do right then is have a little conversation with them about like what their goals are with this business. That's when I sort of dig a little bit deeper, and I might jump on a quick video messenger with them again, and I'll just sort of explain what's going to happen. I'm going to explain to them that I'm going to get them into a message thread with hopefully some other brand new coaches, and I'm going to let Michelle talk about that. And I also explain to them that I will get them started right away into the Coach Basics training. So I give them sort of an overview of what's going to happen for them now that they've signed up. And also I want to know just a little bit about their goals. Like, now that I know they are eager because they got my email and they responded right away, I know they're eager, because someone can be very eager to do this, sign up, and then you hear nothing from them. So I want to know who I'm working with. Okay, Michelle, I'll just let you go from there.
Hey guys. So yeah, I'm going to kind of share with you guys what we have been doing for probably the last 6 weeks. And I know that doesn't seem like a long time, but that's actually a long time to sort of get some coaches started and see how it's been working. Have they got to their goals that they set for themselves? And we kind of totally took an overview of all of our training, and basically one day we sat down and said, like, we need to dumb this down. It is so confusing. There's so much information coming at new coaches from everywhere, every which way. What do they really need to know? When you think about that, what does a new coach really need to know? Just the basics. And we've been handing them all of this information, and we're losing them in that time because it's too much. It's like, screw this. I thought this was supposed to be fun. This is like crazy. I don't want to do this anymore. So even before they get started, they're done because they're overwhelmed. So I'm not sure, Megan, I think we're kind of changing that Coach Basics thing, that we're not actually going to get them in there right away. Is that not what we decided? We would do the message thread first.
When I do send them the link to join the team page and Coach Basics, but I don't actually add them in right away.
Yeah.
I don't even add them into the team page like right away. I want to know what their goals are first before I add them into the team page. That's just me personally, but I like to know that they, like, if they click on the link to join the training, I know that they're like, they want to start the training. I'm not going to add them in yet at all.
Yeah.
So I hold off.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to double check that. I do not put that link on my letter because I don't even want to tempt them with it, because I now know that this message thread for the first 7 days is so vital to this process. So basically what we have done is Megan and I have done the webinar, and you guys are all invited to have your coaches, your prospects to come and listen to that webinar. But please be mindful of the fact that they are not listening to you. They are not getting to know you when they listen to Megan and I. The sooner you can do your own thing. So that does not mean you have to have a big fancy webinar, but even just that you're talking and sharing your story. If you want to add them into our webinar so they can hear another story, that's awesome. But you have to make sure that you're sharing your stuff with them too. You're not just like, dropping them in the webinar and running away scared. You've got to share you, because you are their leader. You are their person. They're connecting with you. They're attracted to you. So it's really, really important, guys, that you share your stuff with your prospects. It's fine that we love it that there's lots of people on that webinar, but they really need to know you as well. So we do the webinar, and our hope is to get a couple coaches each that want to sign up after that. So we start a message thread immediately. And if you've been on our webinars, the last few, we've actually had an incentive. So if someone signs up before midnight, they get a message thread. Like, it's nothing epic. Like, it's not like I'm giving them $1 million. I'm giving them my time for 7 days. And when I tell you my time, I mean I am dedicated to them for 7 days. I hold their hand. If they need to talk to me on video messenger at midnight, I will do it. If they need anything from me, I will do it in those 7 days. There is the thing that I did not realize for a long, long time. I'm a pretty self-learner. Like, if you tell me to do something, I'll figure out how to do it. And what I've now realized is not everyone's like that. Some people do need a lot more guidance. It doesn't mean that they're capable. They just learn a different way. So I now realize I really have to be with those coaches. I literally have to walk them through every first step. So we have gone ahead. We've had this message thread twice now. We've run through it twice. We've seen a lot of success. There's coaches that have gone Emerald. They've sold challenge packs. They've got to Success Club in their first month of business. And we firmly believe that it's because of this message thread. I have gone and I've made a Google Doc that has every single step that we have done in this message thread. I will be posting it in the team page after this call. So all you guys have to do is literally start the message thread. You can copy and paste everything that we have done. It is all there, but you all know how to do it. All it is sharing with them the very basic steps. The first night, we get them to introduce themselves, because there's usually 4 or 5, 3 to 6 people in there, plus us. And you can run this thread by yourself, or you can get a success partner, get another person on the team, and start trying to bundle up your coaches. So if you have one signing up and you have a partner and she has one, you can do it together. It's lots of fun when there's more people. But, you can do it on your own as well. The steps are exactly the same. So the first night they introduce themselves. The second morning, they talk about fears. We get fears right out of the way. And that brings in personal development. So we start talking to them about why they might back out, why they might feel overwhelmed, what their fears are. And then we go through what's their first step. It's getting into a challenge group. They have to make sure they're plugged into a challenge group. So if we've got coaches that haven't been in a challenge group before, we get them in our challenge group. And then have to start sharing their story on social media. We teach them how to do that. First thing in the morning, And the post is in the Google Doc that we've written. We do voice messages to them. We literally walk them through every single step. We share with them how to connect with the people that are liking their posts. This is all they need to know. And you know, there's always one, okay, how do I set up a link for a challenge pack? And I right away say, oh my gosh, you must have your first customer. This is amazing. No, I don't have any customers. Well, then you don't need to know how to set up a link. You do not need to know that information. That is useless information for you right now. Right now, I need you to go take a better selfie. You know, like that's what they need to know. That's the information that we're sharing in that. I get rid of all the fluff. We get rid of all the extra stuff they don't need to know. And that's why we have not put them in Coach Basics yet, because there's too much information in there. They don't need to know that stuff yet. So their first post, they have to share it with us in the message thread. And we all see it and cheer everybody on, and you know, they're nervous. We all remember our first post. They're nervous, they're fearful. We walk them through what kind of page they're going to have. Are you going to post on Instagram? Are you going to have a business page? We do all of those kind of conversations in this message thread. What else do we do? So we talk about the posts, we talk about the connecting, and then we talk about Success Club, Success Starters, and getting to Emerald. This takes 7 days. And at the very last day, we usually get them to post their pages, and we do a little like critiquing of their pages. Nothing major. We just go and, you know, if we see something like bad selfies or, you know, spaces in their paragraphs, just little things that make a difference. So at the end of the day, I guess the point I'm trying to tell you is you need to hold their hands. That is where the success lies. You need to hold their hand through the whole thing, but you need to make it so simple. Don't get caught up in anything besides helping them post and share their journey and helping them connect. And then if you have in the last message thread, I had a coach and she did have people interested right away. So I separately worked with Carrie and said, okay, this is amazing. You know, this conversation, we did a 3-way chat. We encouraged them to start a 3-way chat so we can help them make that first sale. We can literally walk them through that whole process in the first 7 days. Day 7, we tell them, we're letting you loose. You are now going to be put into Coach Basics. That is why we made it self-paced. I don't want anything to do with their education from this point on, except what they need from me. But I don't want to be responsible for them doing lesson 17. I don't need the stress of it, to be honest. Like I have new coaches coming in. By the time you've walked them through all those basic steps, they know all they need to know to have success right away. And then they can go about Coach Basics on their own. And that's why we decided to make it self-paced. When they need to know about whatever, I've never done Coach Basics, so I don't even know what we talk about in there. But like when they need to know about free groups, then there they go find the free group post. We can lead them through that just in that self-paced Coach Basics. So on day 7, the message thread is done. And we make it very, like, it's a final goodbye. This has been awesome. Now you're going to go into Coach Basics. And what I have done this last 6 weeks is I wait about a week or so before I add them into my team message thread. So I'm sure you're all on some sort of message thread with your team. Of course, my personally sponsored coaches here are on mine. And I wait a little bit because, again, we don't want to overwhelm them. If all of a sudden you're adding them into all of these places, they just get so scattered and so overwhelmed. So they've had the message thread, they've started posting, they're doing the stuff they need to do. We talk about the consistency, like we talk about all basically the vital behaviors. Basically, it's a message thread about vital behaviors. And then we put them into Coach Basics, and you can tell That's why we have tag your coach under each lesson in Coach Basics. I can tell who's doing it. So I know what point they're at. I know, okay, Colleen is ready to be in my big message thread because she is going to, thrive in there. She's going to feed off the other coaches, the positivity in that message thread, the fun we all have together. She's ready to be kind of part of the family. I can tell if she's taking part. What I don't want in my message thread anyway, this might be personal, but I don't want people there that aren't working the business or being negative. I want positive business building behavior in there. And if you're working your way through Coach Basics, I know that that's what's happening. So this is a system that has been working really, really well for us. My mentor, Arno, who you guys met a couple weeks ago, said to me a couple months ago, Michelle, when you sign up a coach that wants to work the business, you have to basically do everything for them first. The very first time of everything, you basically have to do it. You have to walk them through that first message. You have to walk them through that first invite. You have to walk them through the first challenge pack sale. So if you want your coaches on your team to see success, that's what needs to happen. And we've found that really walking and holding their hands, and it does get overwhelming sometimes. This month we had this message thread going on the first week of the month, which is like death to both Megan and I because we're trying to get Success Club. But really our focus had to be in this message thread because they needed us. They needed our full on attention. So does that cover it pretty well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just the simple things that you need them to start doing. If you want your coach, your new coach, to be successful, you have to just push them over the edge and get them to start posting. That's the key. If they can just start posting, then you can help them how to have conversations with people. You can help them to start messaging people and connecting with people. And then when they have someone who's interested, you can help them have that conversation. And those things can all happen within 7 days. If they start posting on day 1 or day 2 and start connecting with the people on day 2 or day 3, by the end of the 7 days, more than likely they're going to have, I'm not saying they're going to sell a challenge pack, but they're going to have started to create some interest so that you can have that conversation. You can help them have that conversation. Because if they can start doing those things right away, imagine how successful they can be, right? We've been able to figure this stuff out now, which is going to be awesome moving forward because we really haven't had a system in place like this. But now I feel like we do have a concrete system instead of just dumping them into Coach Basics because that has all the information. And that's what we think they need. It isn't what they need. They don't need any of it. All they need is just the support of you, and even better, the support of another brand new coach. If you can sort of bundle up 2 new coaches together or even 3, it makes such a difference. I really encourage you guys to try and you don't have to necessarily even be success partners, but just, in our own message threads, if you're signing up a coach, see if anyone else is signing up a coach that week too, and plan to do this 7-day message thread with them. Because if a new coach feels like she's not the only one who is so scared to post, if they can just get over that hurdle together and one of them is okay, I posted, here it is, well, then the next one's going to do it. And that's what happens in the message thread is they just sort of start feeding off one another. And they kind of don't want to be the person who didn't yet do their little post, right? And we also want to get those bad habits that maybe are started right away, the I'm a Beachbody coach now, do the 21-day fix, and here's my Shakeology. We want to nip those in the bud right then. We don't want them doing that sort of stuff. So if we can stop it right on day one and be like, okay, love that you posted. However, I think what you could have done, and we do that. We did that, I think, in our very first message thread was like, okay, loved that, but even better, you could have done this instead.
Because whenever someone, like, it's the same old story. No one wants to be a salesperson, and then all of a sudden they sign up and they've got autumn all over their page. So you can, when you have this message thread, there's a sense of, you don't feel bad telling them. You know, like if they posted autumn, you can say, I'm so proud of you for posting, because that took courage. But that when we post a picture of autumn, it kind of just looks a little salesy. And remember, you told me you don't want to be salesy. So you could have done this. I mean, so many people are scared to post. So as soon as we say, oh my God, just take a picture of your runners and your weights and just say, oh my gosh, I got that done this morning. It was awesome. Like, you start sharing with them, we're just creating curiosity. You're not a salesperson. Nothing's changed here. You're exactly the same as you were yesterday. You're just going to share it now. So you get to know your coaches a lot better. Like, I found I get to really, really know them, because when there's a couple of them, they start sharing more. One person shares something and then it just kind of escalates and they become close too. I mean, I see them all friends on the message threads doing their own chatting now and whatever. So there's so many positives to it. But basically just keeping it so dumbed down. Like, there's no better term than that, just like dumbed down. But that you can literally hold their hands so they're not making mistakes that will become why they fail, because they'll get so discouraged, you know, and when you're left to do it on your own with this pile of information, who wouldn't get discouraged? There's only a few people that make it through that pile, you know? So all the people that don't make it, maybe they could have, if we just could have been a little bit more attentive for 7 days. 7 days isn't a lot to ask when so much happens, so much positive stuff can happen.
And then we just let them go. Like, we have shown them how to post. We have shown them how to start having conversations and connecting, and how to, you know, talk to people who are interested. That's what we need to show them. They can learn about all the rest of the stuff. They can learn about how, like, free groups and challenge groups, all that information is in Coach Basic. So it's not like you are forever holding their hand. You don't want to be at all. Be really close with them for those first 7 days, get their business started, and then let them go. Because they then have all the information, and obviously you're there to still support them, and hopefully they get into your message thread and whatnot. But we have literally given you day by day by day what you have to do. So there's really no excuses as to why you couldn't do this 7 days with them. Like, it is like laid out exactly. The only thing really that isn't in that doc is our messages. Like, we did a lot of voice messaging with them because it was just so much easier, especially when they are talking about their fears. I think that's always a big day, is when they start talking about their fears. Every one of them said what their fears was, and then that was our chance to go in there and on voice message, like, say, oh my gosh, trust me, I know. And the great thing about doing this with a partner, finding somebody else who has a new coach on the team too, is that my fears were different than Michelle's, and vice versa. So being able to both be in there, or even like, there was a few days last week where I could not even get into that damn message thread. And when you have a brand new coach, that's a horrible feeling. Like, when shit is happening in your life and you just can't get in there. But if you've teamed up with somebody else, I knew that Michelle was in there and she just sort of took over. And, you know, I was so grateful for that, because I don't know how I would have, you know, managed it, because it happens to all of us, right? So it's just a good system, and it's good for your new coach to sort of be with other people who are brand new, and it gives them that whole team culture feel right away, because we talk about that so much with them, especially in the sneak peek, like our team's amazing, the culture, the support, but we want to show them that right away. And at this point, like, I hadn't even welcomed them into the team page yet, and they feel that community already because of a simple message thread just with 3 or 4 people in it. So it's definitely key.
Yeah. And I think your idea, Megan, I think you must have just got that on the fly when you were talking, that if you're about to sign up a coach, just throw it out there in your message thread. I love that. It doesn't mean you have to partner up with the same person all the time. There's going to be a time when Megan and I don't have coaches starting. So maybe we'll, just grab another person from the team and start the thread. The doc is the same. Okay. The information is there. Like, I've literally copied and pasted and even given you my images, because of course I throw in an image in the message thread. Like, it's all there. We have worked really hard on making this duplicatable. It's no fun for us to be the only ones getting coaches and the only ones getting coaches to Emerald and the only ones having coaches hit Diamond. That is like not that fun for us. We want this for you guys. So we're trying to like figure out how to work this, that it's so simple for everyone that we can just duplicate it over and over and over, and it's taking as little time as possible. So as much as I say those 7 days are, you're getting to know them, you're hanging out with them quite a bit. After that, they know it. I mean, they know it. They of course I still talk to them, but I'm not glued to my messenger feeling like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get my work done because I have to help her through this. She already knows. They already know what to do, and they just pop in with little questions here and there. So it's saved us time. I would think. Would you agree? In the end.
And they're either going to do Coach Basics or they're not going to do Coach Basics.
Yep. And it's okay. Don't pressure, because I never did Coach Basics. Don't be pissed off when someone doesn't do Coach Basics. I didn't do it. I don't want to do it. I actually hate even offering it because I hate it so much. But I mean, some people learn like that, right? Some people need Coach Basics. But don't think just because they don't do Coach Basics, they suck ass. Because
but I mean, like, they're either going to take off with the business or they're not going to take off with the business. And even when you're talking, I didn't mention this earlier either, but when you're talking to someone about the opportunity and they just are like hesitating and they're just like, I don't know, don't push them into it. Like, I will be the first to say I have pushed people to do this and it's never worked out. Like, it's only gotten me frustrated and wasted my time, and just, I put so much pressure on them. If someone wants to do this, they're going to sign up. Like don't ever force any of this on someone, I guess, is what I would say. Because it's
absolutely. I've learned that the hard way and spent like so much time, and then it's not really for them, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. You just have to, be supportive. And you never know. That's the thing. You can't prejudge. You just can't prejudge. You just never know who is going to really, really run with it, when they're going to run with it. Like, I have so many coaches that didn't like do anything for a long time, and then all of a sudden. And I have some coaches that I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. And it definitely was not amazing. So you just never know. But if you can give everybody the same love for that first little bit of time, and then you will see what's going to happen. You will see by their actions, but you're giving them all the same thing. I think it's the consistency of having that first little bit of information. So we know they're not going to be salesy. They know how to have an initial conversation. They know how to connect with people. They know the stuff they need to do to start. Okay, anybody have any questions? Nothing.
Wow.
Okey-dokey. Okay. Nothing at all. Nothing. Awesome
So
info.
I'll ask a question. I missed, I think, the first like 2 minutes of the call. So I'm assuming that you have a message thread that we're going to be, I just missed the very, like, is it just it's a thread? I mean, I've been on since 8:01 or something, or it's 8:01 here, but what is the message thread?
Camille, we actually started the call at 8:30.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
I will watch the beginning part of the call.
Probably, I think it would probably be, we can chat after, or I would
Yeah, no, I just assumed it was at 9 p.m.
I know. Yeah.
The
No.
good news, Camille, is you are not being added to another message thread. That's what you're thinking. We are not adding any of you to another message thread. There is some good news for your night. No.
Okay.
Watch the first of the call. It's pretty self-explanatory. I will be posting the doc in the team page. It'll go into the file section. So it's yours to have. All the information is there. And then obviously Coach Basics is open. Please don't add anyone else into the FitNeek Academy, okay? That information is old. It is not going to prove, it's not going to do any justice to anybody. I will shut down that group sometime when I remember. Just please use the new Coach Basics. That's where all the information is. We've laid it out like it is dumbed down. So please just use that group for your new coaches, okay? Just add them in. All you need to do with the new Coach Basics is go to the pinned post. You don't need to go anywhere else. The pinned post has all the information. So once you click on those links, you'll get to the post that you need. It's the only way that Coach Basics makes sense, because we want people tagging their coaches underneath each lesson. So that means all the lessons get all jumbled up in Coach Basics. So that's why we have it in the pinned post. I spent a lot of freaking time making all those short little bit.ly links. So use them, please. But if you go to the pinned post, everything's there, laid out simply.
Yeah, that's the only place you need to go.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't know how we can like make that clear, but like, you don't scroll.
Yeah, you just have to tell your coaches, okay? So that's your only job. Like, add them in and explain to them that they go to the pinned post, and that's where they live for the whole time. They don't need to go anywhere else. And if they're on their mobile phone, they just have to find the words pinned post and click them, and it'll come up. It's just not there like it's there on a desktop. That is the bummer when you're on a mobile device, which I know a lot of people are, but that's kind of the thing you have to walk them through. So in our message thread, for example, I walked them through that before I added those people into Coach Basics. Once you get into Coach Basics, just go to the pinned post. I still had people message me, oh my God, this is all screwed up. Okay, you got to read. Okay. Do you think this would be a good way to restart an exist? Yeah, definitely. I think so. For sure, Heidi. I mean, we have done that actually. I think in our first message thread, both of us had like people that had been signed up and they were kind of discount, and then they kind of wanted to do it. We did add them in, so they got all that information again. So if they're feeling the itch again, I would say, you know what, we've got a simple system. Why don't you join this? And yeah, I think that's a great idea for anyone that's kind of dabbling in it and just never really got started, right? And that's no fault of anyone. Don't anyone take any feeling guilty. We learn as we go. We fail forward. I've frickin' done it a million times. We only know what we know, but now you know. So now you need to do and take action. And you've got all the steps here to do it. And who knows, in a year, 6 months, we might have another system. That's just the way this business rolls. So you just got to go with it.
And hopefully this just makes it easier now to have those conversations with people. Because if you are like how I was, and intimidated you the thought of bringing on a coach because your thinking was, well, how am I ever, like, what am I even going to do with them? How am I going to help them? Now it is so crystal clear and laid out. You can do it, whether you've been a coach for 3 days or 3 years. You can get your coach started off on the right foot. So now there's no excuse for us not to be out there and like really inviting and talking about this opportunity, because now we have a system in place for them.
Like, we no longer need to say, oh my God, for me personally, I was always apologizing. Oh my God, there's so much information. You're just going to be so overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed. It's okay. Like, this message thread is not overwhelming. It's very slow, actually. We don't talk about posting until Tuesday. Monday is all about fears and personal development, and they get Audible on their phones and they start reading, and it's all love and happiness. And then on Tuesday, we talk about it. It's not overwhelming at all. It's really quite laid out slowly so they can take their time. I remember always being so nervous when I signed a coach, because I felt like there is not going to be another person in the world that is going to stay up all night like I did to go through this information. There's not going to be anyone else that watches YouTube like an obsessed person. Like, I just never thought anyone would make their way through this mountain of stuff to finally get the information they needed. And I was kind of right. They're few and far between. And the thing about it is they didn't need all that information. I didn't need to know half the shit I figured out in the first couple months. I just needed to message people. Like, I didn't do any of the stuff I should have been doing. So now that we have this, you don't have to feel nervous about it. You can go out there and do your diligence in getting coaches to join you. Then you can feel super comfortable about they're going to get started right, because it's all here for me. All here. Okay. All right, guys, have a good night. I hope I see some of you on Saturday or Sunday, I guess. Sunday, right? Who's all going? Nice. Awesome. And for anyone not living near me, I hope you get to a Super Saturday too, or Sunday or whatever. Okay. Good night, guys.
Bye, guys.